It's finally happening. Stop scrolling. Stop thinking about anything else for a moment. Because what I'm about to tell you could completely change how you see yourself and everything you're going through right now. If lately you've been feeling disconnected from your goals, your hobbies, your friends, even the dreams that once set your soul on fire, this message is for you. And no, you're not losing it. You're awakening. What's happening isn't depression, even though it might look like it. It's not apathy, even though people might tell you that you've stopped caring. And it's not a breakdown, even if it feels like your whole life is coming apart. What you're experiencing is a spiritual rebirth, a deep, soul-level transformation, where your old identity is being stripped away so that your true self can finally emerge. The disinterest, the numbness, the feeling of, I don't care anymore. These aren't signs of failure. They're signs of alignment. If you're seeing this around November 3rd, 2025, you're not alone. Right now, people all around the planet, the ones tuned to higher frequencies, are feeling this same inner shift. The collective energy on Earth is rising fast, pushing those who are ready into accelerated growth and higher states of consciousness. One of the first stages of that awakening is what I call the Great Disconnection. It's when the things that once made you happy, your job, your social life, your ambitions, suddenly feel flat and meaningless. You start wondering, what's wrong with me? But nothing is wrong. You're just evolving beyond what once satisfied you. You're not losing yourself. You're remembering yourself. Everything fading from your interest was built around a version of you that no longer exists. The person who needed approval, who lived for validation, who fit into boxes that never matched your soul. That version is dissolving. Before I go any further, I want you to do something powerful right now. Go to the comments and type 777. That number carries the energy of completion, spiritual mastery, and transformation. By typing it, you're sending a message to the universe. This isn't depression. This is my evolution. You're telling your subconscious that you're not breaking down. You're breaking open. Now let's go deeper. The first truth you need to embrace is this. Losing interest means you're growing. When you were little, toys and games felt magical. They were your world. But as you matured, they lost their meaning. Not because something broke inside you, but because you had outgrown that stage of life. The same thing is happening again, only this time it's happening to your soul. You're not just outgrowing activities, you're outgrowing identities. The old motivations, the old ambitions, even the old friendships may no longer resonate. Maybe you used to love being around people, but now even casual conversations feel draining. That's not antisocial behavior. That's energetic evolution. Maybe you used to chase success, climb the ladder, or collect achievements to prove your worth. But now those goals feel hollow. That's not laziness. That's awakening. Your spirit is shifting from ego-driven desires to purpose-driven creation. Maybe you feel like you're walking through the same routines, but nothing excites you anymore. That's not dissatisfaction. That's your inner being saying, it's time to move on. The disinterest you feel is your soul whispering, I can't fake this anymore. I've outgrown this level. Think of a snake before it sheds its skin. It becomes restless, cloudy-eyed, even vulnerable. To someone who doesn't understand, it looks sick, but in truth, it's preparing to be reborn. Its old skin has become too tight, too heavy. It must release it to grow. That's you, right now. You're in that shedding phase, uncomfortable, uncertain, in between. The old skin of who you were is falling away, but the new you hasn't fully emerged yet. It's messy, confusing, even lonely at times, but soon the new skin, your true self, will appear. Brighter, clearer, freer. You're not falling apart. You're transforming. You're not losing your passion. You're being redirected toward your purpose. So don't fight the stillness. Don't resist the emptiness. You are not fading. You are unfolding. And what's waiting on the other side of this transformation is a version of you that finally fits. You're in the space where the caterpillar has dissolved, but the butterfly hasn't yet emerged. And that space, it's deeply uncomfortable. Right now, you don't fully recognize yourself. The old version of you is fading, but the new version hasn't fully arrived. The disinterest you're feeling, that hollow, I don't care about anything sensation, is the death rattling of your old identity, the final release of everything that was never truly yours. Here's why this phase feels so confusing and even scary. You're letting go of your old passions, relationships, goals, and routines before you know what's coming next. The things that once gave your life meaning are dissolving, but the new things haven't yet revealed themselves. You're in this liminal, in-between space where nothing excites you, nothing motivates you, nothing feels significant. Your logical mind panics because it interprets this void as a problem, as if you've lost your spark. But your soul knows differently. Your soul understands that this emptiness is necessary. The void is sacred. The loss of interest is creating room for the new to arrive. Think of it this way. You cannot pour fresh water into a glass that's already full. That glass needs to be emptied first. Your life, your energy, your consciousness, that's the glass. For years, it's been filled with what others told you to value, with pursuits society said would make you happy, with goals you felt compelled to chase. Now, the universe is emptying that glass. It's pouring out all the old water, the false interests, the borrowed dreams, the routines you followed because that's what you're supposed to do. Watching it empty can feel terrifying. You see your old passions draining away and think, I'm losing everything. I used to care so much, and now nothing excites me. But this is not loss, it's preparation. The glass is being cleared to make space for what's actually meant for you. Passions that nourish your soul, goals that resonate with your purpose, relationships that match who you are becoming. The emptiness you feel is sacred. It's the empty glass. Eventually your glass will be filled again, not with the same water, not with what once served you, but with new, authentic energy, new passions, new purposes, new ways of spending your time that feel effortless because they flow from your truth, not from societal expectations. Now here's a crucial distinction. How do you know if what you're feeling is depression or transformation? Depression feels heavy, stuck, hopeless. It says, nothing will ever change. Nothing matters. There's no way out. It's stagnant energy, like being trapped in a dark room with no doors, no windows, no exit. Transformation, on the other hand, is uncomfortable, shifting, sometimes chaotic, but never hopeless. Transformation says, something is changing. I don't know what yet, but movement is happening beneath the surface. It's like being in a dark room and sensing the walls are moving, sensing a door about to open, even if you can't see it yet. If you're feeling depression, you're cut off from hope, possibility, or the future. Time feels frozen. You can't imagine things being different. If you're in transformation, though you might feel lost, confused, and disconnected, there's usually a quiet inner awareness, maybe tiny, maybe subtle, that knows something new is coming. You're not at a dead end. You're in transition. Another difference. Depression makes you want to isolate in ways that feel draining, hopeless, or defeated. Transformation makes you crave solitude in ways that feel necessary, like your soul needs space to process, to integrate, to protect your energy during a vulnerable phase of growth. Here's another thing that happens during this process that makes people feel broken. All your old motivation tools stop working. Pep talks, vision boards, goal-setting exercises, affirmations. Suddenly, they feel forced, hollow, or completely ineffective. You might even feel resistance, like your soul is actively rejecting these techniques that once worked. And this is exactly what's happening. You're moving from motivation-based living to inspiration-based living. These are two entirely different operating systems. You cannot run both at the same time. Motivation-based living is external. It's about pushing, striving, forcing action, and using willpower to get results. It's the grind, the hustle, the no pain, no gain mindset. For years, this worked. You could drive yourself, achieve goals, and rely on external rewards to keep moving. Inspiration-based living is internal. It's about being pulled toward your purpose rather than pushing toward outcomes. Action flows naturally, effortlessly, in alignment with timing and truth. Pep talks, vision boards, and forced motivation don't work here because this is a completely different frequency. One that operates from soul alignment, inner knowing, and divine timing. Here's the challenge. You cannot access inspiration-based living while still clinging to motivation-based living. You must release the pushing, the forcing, the manufactured enthusiasm. You must trust that when the time is right, inspiration will naturally move you forward. This feels terrifying because conditioning tells you if you stop pushing, you'll become lazy, unproductive, a failure. That's the old paradigm talking, the system that keeps you hustling, chasing, and validating yourself externally so you never pause long enough to realize that none of it truly matters. Here's the truth. When you stop trying to push yourself, stop trying to motivate yourself, and instead allow yourself to rest in the emptiness, to sit in the void and trust the process, inspiration will come. But it arrives on its own timetable, not yours. It comes when your frequency has shifted enough to receive it. It comes when you've let go of enough of your false self to make space for the real, authentic you. And when it does arrive, you won't have to force anything. You won't need pep talks or vision boards. You'll be pulled forward by a force so aligned with your soul's purpose that taking action will feel effortless, inevitable, and natural. So if you're in that stage right now, where nothing excites you, where your old motivation tools no longer work, that's a good sign. It means you're transitioning. You're moving from an old operating system to a new one. Don't try to make the old system work again. Don't berate yourself for losing the drive you once had. Allow yourself to simply exist in this in-between space where the old is gone and the new hasn't yet arrived. Trust that inspiration will come when it's ready for you. Another major reason for this loss of interest is what I call a frequency shift. Your energy is literally vibrating at a higher level than it was even months ago. As your frequency rises, the people, places, activities, and interests that used to match you no longer resonate. This doesn't mean those things are wrong or bad, or that the people around you are flawed. It simply means you're no longer aligned with them energetically. Think of it like tuning a radio. At 95.5 FM, you hear one set of music and programs. Shift the dial to 101.3 FM, and suddenly 95.5 is inaudible. It's not gone, you just can't receive it anymore. This is why conversations that once felt easy now feel draining. Why social gatherings that once brought joy now feel hollow. Why hobbies that used to excite you no longer spark anything. You haven't become antisocial or cynical. You've just tuned into a different frequency. Here's the tricky part. The people from your old frequency haven't done anything wrong. They haven't betrayed you or changed. They're the same as always. But you've evolved. You've shifted. From this new frequency, old connections feel constrictive, inauthentic, like wearing clothes several sizes too small. You can force yourself into these old clothes. You can maintain old friendships and habits, but it won't feel natural. It will feel like pretending, like performing, like squeezing yourself into a version of you that no longer exists. This is why you've been losing interest in your social life, why you've cancelled plans, why staying home feels more appealing than going out with friends you once couldn't wait to see. You're not becoming a recluse. You're not being a bad friend. You're protecting your new frequency from energies that would pull you back into your old self. You're learning discernment. You're learning to guard your energy. You're learning to honor the delicate phase of transformation you're in. Yes, some relationships will fade. Some friendships will naturally end. Some connections you thought were permanent will reveal themselves as temporary. And yes, this can hurt, even when you know intellectually that you've outgrown the relationship. Even when it's clear that compatibility is gone, letting go still stings because these were real bonds that mattered. Remember, just because a relationship was meaningful doesn't mean it was meant to last forever. People come into your life for seasons, not lifetimes. Your current transformation is showing you which relationships belong to which category. Your role during this phase isn't to cling to fading connections out of fear or guilt. It's to honor your energy. If being around certain people feels draining, exhausting, or inauthentic, trust that. If interactions feel shallow or meaningless, trust that. If you'd rather be alone than pretend to be interested, trust that. Your withdrawal isn't rudeness. Your selectivity isn't arrogance. Your solitude isn't depression. These are signs that you're honoring your new frequency, protecting your transformation, and refusing to shrink back into an old version of yourself. Here's a secret most people don't tell you. New connections can't enter your life while old energetic attachments are still holding space. You have to release old relationships to make room for the new. Your social circle might temporarily shrink or even disappear, so it can rebuild around people who resonate with who you're becoming rather than who you used to be. This temporary loneliness, the feeling of not fitting anywhere, of being between worlds, is normal. You're in the gap between frequencies. It's uncomfortable, but necessary. All of that is trying to squeeze into skin you've already outgrown. It won't work, and it will slow down your transformation. It's like trying to push a butterfly back into its cocoon. You can't go backward. You can only move forward. Trust the void. Trust the emptiness. Trust the loss of interest. See it as clearing, as preparation, as space making for what's next. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What's trying to emerge through me?" Instead of seeing disinterest as a problem, see it as a signal of what no longer serves you. Instead of filling the void with constant action, give yourself permission to rest, to do nothing, and to simply be in the unknown. Say no to anything that feels heavy without guilt or explanation. You don't owe anyone a justification for not being the same person you once were. You don't need to defend your boundaries or your need for space. A simple no is enough. If a social invitation, request, or obligation feels draining rather than joyful, decline it. Protect your energy as if it's the most valuable resource you have, because during this phase of transformation, it truly is. Carve out space for solitude, for silence, for uninterrupted time with yourself. This is the sacred ground where the new you will emerge. This is where inspiration shows up, clarity arrives, and guidance from your soul becomes accessible. You can't receive these gifts if you're constantly filling your time with noise, distractions, or the energy of others. This isn't loneliness, it's sacred, intentional space. Time to listen, process, and allow transformation to unfold naturally. Journal your experiences. Reflect on what you've lost interest in and why. Approach it not with judgment, but curiosity. Ask yourself, I used to love going to parties, but now they drain me. What does that tell me about how I've changed? Or, I used to chase career success, but now it feels empty. What does this reveal about what truly matters to me? Use the loss of interest as a compass, pointing toward what you've outgrown and hinting at the person you're becoming. Be gentle with yourself. Transformation cannot be rushed. You can't force a butterfly out of its cocoon. Trying will only harm it. This process has its own timing. Your role is to trust it, honor it, and cooperate with it, not control it or try to accelerate it. Some days will feel clear, energized, and aligned. Other days may feel heavy, lost, or confusing. Both are part of the process. Don't judge yourself for the difficult days. Don't pressure yourself to feel better faster. Simply be present with what is, knowing that this phase is temporary, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. Perhaps most importantly, recognize that this process is sacred. This is not a breakdown. It's not a crisis. There's nothing to fix, medicate, or escape from. This is a spiritual initiation, a death and rebirth, a shedding of the false self, and an emergence of the authentic self. Across spiritual traditions and mystical paths, this is the same process described as the dark night of the soul, desert wandering, or the descent into the underworld before resurrection. You are in that sacred space now. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's disorienting. Yes, it can feel lonely. But it's also holy. It's necessary. It's exactly where you're meant to be. And this is exactly what's happening. You're moving from motivation-based living to inspiration-based living. These are two entirely different operating systems. You cannot run both at the same time. You are not losing yourself. You are losing the version of yourself that was built to survive in a world that didn't understand you, to please people who couldn't see you, to fit into boxes never designed for your essence. That version served its purpose. It carried you this far, but it cannot take you forward. It's too small, too limited, too disconnected from who you truly are. It must dissolve. The death of any identity, even a false one, brings grief. It feels like loss, like everything you thought you knew about yourself is slipping away. But here's the truth that will sustain you. Beneath the constructed, conditioned self, beneath all the layers of expectation and obligation, lies your real self. The soul-level you that existed before anyone told you who to be. The you that knows what truly matters, what brings joy, and what awakens your life force. That real you cannot emerge while the false self still dominates. The false self must dissolve, detach, and lose interest in all the things that weren't truly yours. Once you've sat in the void long enough, once you've released your attachment to the old identity, the authentic you will begin to surface. When that happens, you won't need to force interest or motivation. You won't have to manufacture passion. Action, desire, and joy will flow naturally, effortlessly, and authentically. You will be drawn toward people, activities, and purposes that resonate deeply with your truth, because your life will finally be aligned with who you really are. So here's the truth. As we close this video, you are not broken. You are evolving. You are shedding old layers, releasing the false version of yourself, and stepping into the person you were always meant to become. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's confusing. Yes, it can feel lonely. But this is the sacred space where the real you is emerging. The old passions, the old routines, the old relationships, they are leaving to make space for what truly aligns with your soul. And that's something beautiful. Think about it, like a river carving its path. The rocks, the debris, the old sediment may feel like obstacles at first, heavy, immovable, frustrating. But the river doesn't fight them. It flows around them, over them, and eventually it finds its natural course. This is exactly what is happening to you. The old layers of who you were are being removed, cleared, and dissolved so that the current of your life can flow freely again, flowing toward joy, purpose, and authenticity. Remember, the loss of interest is not failure. It's a signal of transformation. The emptiness you feel is not a void to fear. It is the canvas for your new life, your new passions, your new purpose. This emptiness is sacred. It is not nothing. It is space being made for what is truly yours. The hobbies that no longer excite you, the friendships that no longer feel aligned, the routines that feel hollow, they are all being removed to make room for inspiration, clarity, and alignment that your soul can finally step into. Protect your energy. Say no to things that feel heavy, without guilt or explanation. You don't owe anyone a justification for not being the same person you were last year, last month, or even last week. Your boundaries, your need for space, and your energy are sacred. No is a complete sentence. If a social invitation, a task, or a responsibility drains you instead of bringing joy, decline it. Protect your frequency. Protect your transformation. Seek solitude. Create sacred time alone without distraction. This is where the new you will emerge. This is where clarity will arrive. Inspiration can't flow into a life filled with noise, obligation, or the energy of others. This is not loneliness. This is sacred, intentional space. Time to listen to your soul, process what's happening, and allow the transformation to unfold naturally. Journal. Reflect, use your loss of interest as a map for self-discovery. Write down what no longer excites you and explore why. For example, I used to love going out with friends, but now it drains me. What does this tell me about who I've become? Or, I used to chase career success, but it feels meaningless. What does this reveal about my true priorities? Every fading interest, every lost passion, is a clue pointing toward who you're becoming, toward the authentic version of yourself that's ready to step forward. Be gentle with yourself. Transformation cannot be rushed. You cannot force a butterfly out of the cocoon. Trying will only damage it. This process has its own timing. Your role is to trust it, honor it, and cooperate with it, not control it or accelerate it. Some days will feel aligned, energized, and clear. Other days may feel heavy, confusing, or lost. Both are part of the process. Don't judge yourself for the difficult days. Don't pressure yourself to feel better faster. Just be present with what is, knowing that this phase is temporary, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. Understand that this process is sacred. This is not a breakdown, a failure, or a crisis. This is a spiritual initiation, a death and rebirth, a shedding of the false self and an emergence of the true self. Across every spiritual tradition, mystical path, and wisdom lineage, this process is known. The dark night of the soul, the desert wandering, the time in the wilderness, the descent into the underworld before resurrection. You are in that sacred space now. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's disorienting. Yes, it can feel lonely, but it's holy. It's necessary. It's exactly where you need to be. You are not losing yourself. You are losing the version of yourself that was built to survive a world that didn't understand you, to please people who couldn't see you, to fit into boxes never meant to hold your essence. That version served its purpose. It got you this far, but it cannot take you where you're going next. It's too small, too limited, too disconnected from your authentic self. So it must dissolve. The death of any identity, even a false one, feels like grief. It feels like loss. It feels like everything you thought you knew about yourself is slipping away. But here's the truth. Beneath the constructed, conditioned self, beneath all the layers of obligation, expectation, and performance, lies your real self, the soul-level you that existed before anyone told you who to be, the you that knows exactly what matters, what brings joy, and what awakens your life force. That real you cannot emerge while the false self is still running the show. The false self must dissolve. It must lose interest in everything it once cared about. Once you've sat in the void long enough, once you've released your grip on your old identity, the authentic you begins to rise. When it does, you won't need to force interest. You won't need pep talks, vision boards, or external motivation. You won't need to manufacture passion. Desire and action will flow naturally, effortlessly, and aligned. You will be drawn toward people, activities, and purposes that resonate with your soul. You will move forward with clarity, inspiration, and joy because your life will finally match your truth. So take a deep breath. Protect your energy. Say no without guilt. Honor your boundaries. Spend time in solitude. Reflect, journal, and trust the void. Know that this phase, no matter how uncomfortable, is preparing you for a life that finally fits the real you. And if you want, right now, as a symbolic gesture, write 777 in the comments, the number of spiritual completion and awakening. Acknowledge to the universe that you are not broken, not lost, not failing. You are evolving. You are transforming. You are stepping into the person you were always meant to become. Your new life is waiting. Your soul is calling. Trust the process. Honor the transformation. And let the real you rise.